take place here. So thank you for being here. This really is what decentralization looks like at work. And so tonight is the opportunity to ask all your questions, share your concerns, help us understand what matters to you, what matters to your circle, what matters to your work here at Deep Funding and at SingularityNET, as the case may be. And everybody's going to be here to listen, to build, to learn, and to work together on all of the challenges and all of the opportunities that lay ahead of us. So this is your meeting, this is your town hall, this is your time to speak, your time to share, your time to ask questions, and your chance to be heard. So please do not hesitate to participate. Every perspective in this room matters. And so to get started, a few ground rules. We encourage as many questions as possible and as many comments and contributions as possible. But let's be mindful of how we speak. Let's be sensitive to one another. Let's be kind and warm, and let's just be geniuses that we already are. Let's be curious, um and let's be open to everything that will happen here today. So yeah, like I said, we are all geniuses gathering here today. And from cartoons you can tell that when geniuses gather, it's all about ideas and moving forward and respectful, intelligent conversations. So I trust that we are going to have a brilliant time for the next hour and a half. Hopefully, we do not exceed an hour and a half. So, everybody that's supposed to present today, I just want to remind you all that there is football today. There's Champions League happening today. So, let's 1 hour and a half. I'm going to be the accurate timekeeper. I'll make sure we don't exceed. We have an interesting agenda ahead of us. But to get started on this town hall, I'm just going to share my screen now and walk through our introductory slides for members of our community who are new to Deep Funding and new to the town halls here at Deep Funding. All right, so I'm just going to breeze through that in a minute. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Okay, like I was saying, we're going to wrap this town hall with an interactive motivation session by the wonderful and brilliant Professor Olivier, who is here with us today. Right on time. He was earlier than a lot of you, so he's going to be the MVP of the night. Oh, well, everybody's an MVP, including our spotlight guests. But basically, we're just going to have an interesting time today. And of course, we're going to share some very critical announcements. So as much as you can, listen, participate from start to finish. Like I said, it's going to be an hour and a half, hopefully, and then, be out of here. So, agenda one, what is deep funding? Raphael, slide 3. Okay. Deep funding is a decentralized grants program tasked to fund projects and initiatives that are beneficial to SingularityNET. At SingularityNET, we have a central mission, some strategies and some values. And basically, SingularityNET's mission is to create a democratic, decentralized, beneficial AGI. And the values here at Deep Funding and also at SingularityNET include openness, creativity, collaboration, and kindness. And these values basically just guide how we work, how we communicate to one another, how we achieve our goals and our objectives, our circles as a big ecosystem, and as part of SingularityNet as well. Thank you, Raphael. Next slide. So yeah, Deep Funding is also a community-run program. It is primarily a community-run program. Here, you get to propose ideas, you get to vote on existing ideas, you get to review ideas and proposals, you get to have interesting, brilliant conversations that's move forward our vision, our mission, our goals, our objectives, and really just the adoption of beneficial AGI. And you could be part of circles. There are a number of circles here at Deep Funding, included but not limited to the event circle, the best circle at Deep Funding, by the way, marketing, dev outreach, onboarding, documentation. Am I missing some? Yes, I'm missing some. Operations. Well, there are a number of circles, right, that have been created by brilliant people and consist of brilliant people that you could be a part of depending on your skill set and what you're interested in learning and contributing towards. So yes, and you could be a part of circles by just applying at the Deep Funding community page. I believe the link would be provided in the chat box soon. So just find a circle that is hiring and apply. Now, welcome to this town hall. Like I said in the beginning, this town hall is for you. It's a place to ask your questions, share your concerns, and a chance to have your voice be heard. And this is how we gather to discuss everything related to deep funding. Town hall is the A to Z of deep funding. This is a perfect place to learn, to ask your questions, and to start your deep funding journey. So if you are new here, you're an OG, welcome, welcome, welcome. And yeah, for those of us who might be new here, connect with us through our community website. You could join circles, like I've said, book presentation slots, like to come present your ideas or your work or basically exciting things that are happening would give you slots. We are open to giving you slots, 15, 20 minutes to come share with the deep funding community and get feedback and praises. We're open to that. Calendar with all of our deep funding events. Do not trust that your brain can remember all of the events. So a good way is to sign up on the community website, and automatically your calendar gets all the notifications about town halls. So that way you are never forgetting that a town hall is coming up, right? And you could keep track of circle, progress, and work. And we want to hear from you. You could present community initiatives and awarded projects. You could host a breakout room about a specific topic. We know that at AI and AGI, they're very evolving topics, and so many things are happening in so many fronts in global south, in Europe, in Americas. So yeah, you could have a breakout room and just be that lovely nerd that you are and just share. And like we are really all nerds and geeks here. So to be the perfect opportunity for you to just share and learn and hear from other people. So, thank you all. I breezed through that as promised. Thank you for being here. We really do appreciate that you turned up today. We appreciate your being here. We appreciate your staying with us. We appreciate your communicating, your learning, your conversing, right? And so, to get this town hall officially started, moving on to our next agenda, there's going to be a presentation from the Deep Labs. The Deep Labs is a new initiative, well, not particularly new, but sort of new here at Deep Funding, and Rama is leading it, and it's just going to be sharing some updates and just giving us more details about what is going on at the Deep Labs. Really fascinating stuff happening there. So Rama, over to you if you are here.
Hello, Miriam.
Griffin, are you presenting for Deep Labs?
Yeah, Rama won't be able to join, so I'll be taking his
Uh,
mantle.
all righty. Round of applause for Griffin, everybody. Thank you, Griffin, for coming. Do you want to share your screen? Is that something you want to do, or are you fine like
Yes, I'll
this?
do that.
All right, then I'm making you co-host now. Okay, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you once again, Miriam. And good evening from where I'm calling from to everyone. I'm Jeffrey, as Miriam said, and I'll be presenting a couple of updates from Deep Labs. We have a couple of boards we are working on. So today's demonstration is just to give you a feel of what we've been able to achieve. Okay, so I'll get right into it. I know we have 20 minutes, so we'll do our possible best to make sure we do everything in time. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Please give a thumbs up if you can see my screen.
Not yet. It's still loading. Yes, it's clear now. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the first part I'll be demoing is the AI avatar. I believe I have presented on this before on the same town hall. So we did the first demo here, and this is a second demo. Initially, we were supposed to do a demo some few weeks back, but as you know, development comes with its own headache. We were facing a couple of issues, and we've been able to breach through. So we've achieved a milestone, and we thought it wise of sharing it. Okay, so as you all know, this is a Deep Funding AI Avatar. You basically ask it any question about about Deep Funding, and it's supposed to give you an answer. Currently, it is connected to three sources. That is the Deep Funding manual, the Deep Funding portal, and also the community website. So any information you want to get from those websites, you can as well just query it using natural language, and it should be able to give you a response. So as you can see on my screen, I've already started testing it. We can go ahead and give it a couple of queries and see what you're supposed to get, right? Okay, I may be biased here, so I'll just start with most of the things I create myself. So how do I, as a circle member, okay, thinking, let's see what we are going to get over here. Hello, everybody. I hope my network is not lagging. I believe it's.
It's still thinking. The bot is still thinking, but we can see.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. It's taking more than expected, but let's just give it a little bit of knock. Hold on. Okay.
But that's expected, right? Every time we are demoing for
Oh man,
others, is the time that such a thing will happen. But it's fine, Godfred. It's fine.
yeah. So as it's thinking, let me just give some background here. If I share this link with all of you and you start querying it, you are going to face this kind of issue, and it is expected as a first user. The reason being, since we are using the agile methodology to build this, we build this quickly, so we don't, currently it's not connected to a database. So what we do is that when the websites are indexed, it is stored in memory, which means whatever that was indexed at that moment might be different from mine and might be different from yours as well. That is why sometimes it takes quite some time. Okay, but the final goal is that when the website is indexed, it will be embedded and stored in the DB so that anybody who goes to the AI avatar won't have to wait for this long. It just goes to the DB and just picks the response and gives you what you're expected. Oh, this has taken too much there. Let me use a different one. It wasn't supposed to be so, man. Okay, let's give it another push. As a circle. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so we've gotten a response over here. So it says to request payment, you must submit a request through the official payment request form. Remember to submit a request no later than Wednesday of the week. You expect payments. Request submitted after Thursdays will be processed in the next payment cycle. Okay, I believe I have tested this myself and I had a question for myself. So I believe I'll ask the question even before someone asks the question. The last time he presented over here, I believe it was Rafael Cardoso who asked, what about we getting links as well? So something like the official request form, it should come with a link. Okay, so we did debugging ourselves, and there is a reason why you are not seeing links. It is supposed to show URLs, but there is a reason. The reason being that if you go onto the DF manual currently, or even the website, you see text. So it is actually a text, but it is in HTML they call it how do I even put it? It's an A tag with href link, which means if you click on that particular text, it's supposed to open whatever link is supposed to give you. But when you are indexing, it does not take that URL. It takes only the text it sees on the website. If it was supposed to be the link itself on the website, then it was going to take that link and the AI avatar is going to respond to you with that particular link. So this is the reason why when you query questions like this, it comes with just text without links. So I believe this might answer questions that people will have in mind, but let's go ahead and query it more. So I can, okay, what is currently happening? I just tested out a feed on the Deep Funding website, so let's check it out. What is currently happening on the feeds section? Now on the feeds on Deep Funding. Let's see if you're going to get a response. Okay, so based on the provided text, a Deep Funding feed currently features updates on new funding options, events, and project deliverables. Users can also submit their own update directly to keep followers informed. Additionally, there have been recent profile improvements. Okay, I'll stop reading there. Those who have already started using the feed section, please you can confirm if this is what the feed section is actually doing. Okay, because the AI just takes whatever it's on that particular page and summarizes it. So I mean, if you guys think the AI gave a right answer, please let me know so that we know it's not hallucinating. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and give it a couple of queries. So what are some of the latest awarded projects? Okay, so I'll read it as it is. I'm sorry, but I cannot answer your question using only the provided text. Okay. While the document mentions awarded projects in deep funding rounds, it does not list the names of those projects. To help me provide you with the information you need, could you please rephrase your question? Okay, so I am expecting a response, but it didn't give me the response I expected. So let's just go by the alternative it suggested. It said we should rephrase it. So let's see if by rephrasing it, we are going to get an answer. So list some of the awarded projects. Okay, right. I'm sorry, but while the provided text mentions awarded projects and lists some that were under consideration, it does not provide a comprehensive list of the awarded projects. The document does not state the awarded project from Deep Funding Round 3 will be announced during the week of. Okay, yeah. It's very good we are getting a couple of hallucinations over here. This will help us in our QA. So and list several projects eligible for voting in the later round, including. Okay. So with this, I can say that it is getting some information from the website, but not all, because so far as it's been able to get some right proposals on the Deep Funding website. If I am not wrong, these proposals are only on the Deep Funding website. If I am not wrong, if that being the case, I can say that it is getting information from the website, but probably not getting the full information. So it's good to notice this on the demo. Let's go and give it a couple more. So any query from the audience?
Maybe the only question would be, what are the next steps for the
What are the next
development
steps?
do you have in mind?
Afro, can you come again?
The question was, what are the next steps for development and what do you have in mind?
Interesting. I believe, and what do you have in mind?
Can I ask a question? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Anthony, please a second. Let me ask Raphael's question. And what do you have in mind? I believe we might not get a response here.
Sorry, the question was for you, not for the model. Sorry.
Oh, for oh, okay. So good. So the next step here is currently to include a couple of data sources. Because as I said from the beginning, we have 3 data sources at the moment. So we have the DF manual, the Deep Funding website, and the community website. After that, then we can go ahead into embedding this AI avatar into probably the Deep Funding website, a community website, or we can make it a standalone where if you come to the website, you just click on the icon you see down there and you can start interacting with it. All right, Anthony, you can ask a question.
Yeah, it was something like a suggestion, actually. Do all these resources have a sitemap, like the Deep Funding website? If they do, you can put the sitemap as an extra data source. Then it will now be all about semantics and how you do prompt engineering to link the question to the exact URL that the answer is on. It's just a suggestion. Like the sitemap
Yeah.
of the web.
Yeah, I get you, Anthony. And thanks.
You put it in your prompt also. It doesn't change. You put it in the adjustment. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Anthony, and thanks for the suggestions. We will take that into consideration. I believe I've exhausted quite some time over here, so I would move to the next pod, which is going to be the AI review assistant, and that will be presented by Egu.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I would like to share my screen.
All right. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay, you're co-host now.
Okay, thank you. Please give me the thumbs up if my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so like Godfred mentioned, and thank you for the introduction. I'm the project manager for the AI Review Assistant pod. And I'll briefly introduce the project we've been developing called, the AI Review Assistant.
Well, Egu, you're seeing a different screen.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the purpose of the AI Review Assistant is a simple solution that we decided to create to assist the review circle or the members of the review circle in reviewing proposals. With this one, we considered the BGI Nexus review round as the criteria, or we use the criteria from the BGI Nexus round to train our LLM. So this is very simple. We have our interface here, which contains the AI review assistant, the chat that an individual has had with the AI review assistant. So to submit a proposal to the AI review assistant, you can just click on this button, which is New Review. Over here, I'm just going to copy information from any of the RFPs that have been submitted onto our website. So I'll come here and then just click on this proposal, come to the original proposal, and then copy everything here. Oh, sorry. So every information about this particular proposal, I copy it here, feed it to my LLM, and then not forgetting the milestone and budget as well. So copy everything here on milestone and budget, and then paste it here. So the main purpose of this LLM is to serve as a second opinion for any reviewer who is reviewing a particular RFP or a proposal. And it's not going to replace any reviewer at all. So let me just put that out first. So once I press on enter, so the review assistant is going to take a bit of some time to give us the result. Okay, so initially the review assistant gives us the project summary. So something very, very little about the project. Then it gives us an overall feedback, what it thinks about the project. It gives us a verdict and a percentage or a score for the proposal. Then the final verdict is, depending on the score of the proposal, it tells you, okay, this project should be accepted. However, an interview is also recommended. That means you can request to interview the proposers of the idea. Then the following criteria, it analyzes the proposal in the following criteria, that is alignment with deep funding goals. It tells us something about the project, how it aligns with deep funding goals. So over here it says the project strongly aligns with deep funding goals. It utilizes decentralized AI and blockchain technologies, promotes transparency, and the rest. Then the next criteria will be the team's experience. So it mentions the team Veritas Kenjas Labs claims a robust network of experts in AI blockchain and industrial carbonization. And it says, however, further evidence of their specific experience and track record is needed to fully assess their capabilities. Then we come to the milestone feasibility. The LLM talks about the milestone feasibility. Like, is it possible that they can, complete the project? Then it scores the originality of the idea. So over here, it starts with the score, 6/10, and it tells you it's fairly original. And then it explains why. So while the individual components, AI blockchain, carbon credits are established, the specific combination and applications to create. So it just tells you why it is marking the originality of this proposal as a 6/10. Then, because I fed it the milestone and budget, it also analyzes the project in terms of the budget, saying it is not excessively high considering the scope of the project, but a more detailed breakdown of the cost for each milestone will improve the transparency and allow for better evaluation. Then from there, it analyzes the ethical consideration of the project. It says the proposal implicitly addresses ethical considerations by focusing on transparency and verifiability, aiming to reduce greenwashing and ensure carbon credits validation. However, a more explicit discussion of potential biases in the AI algorithm, data privacy concerns, and potential for misuse of the platform will strengthen the proposal. Then, since the AI suggested that, yes, you can accept and also recommends that you interview the team, it gives certain suggestions, like things to clarify for the interview. And that one, it gives you certain questions you can ask the team for more clarification. As in, can you provide more details on the team's experience and expertise? Because it mentioned that during the analysis of the team's expertise. Then it also says, please provide a detailed breakdown of the budget allocation for each milestone. How will the transition from simulated to real world data in milestone 2 be managed? And the remaining question follows. So it marks, or it gives a score to each project, or it gives a final verdict to each project depending on the score. If a project score surpasses 75%, it's going to tell you to accept the project. However, it's going to tell you the things to look out for when you are going to review the milestone or when you're going to review the project. I'm going to enter a second project in quickly and then just show that, then I'm done. Let's pick this. Okay. So let me just create a new chart here. milestones. Okay, so as you can see, this one got a score of 85%, and the verdict says accepted. And yes, I can run you through the same criteria like before, but this is the things to look out for when reviewing. But it asks it in, it kind of outlines them in the form of a question again. So instead of saying, can you elaborate, it means the team should elaborate on, or when you are looking, so when you're reviewing the milestones, you should look out for if the team elaborated on the specific conformal prediction techniques they plan to use and why they are suitable for the divers. And you should also look out for the specific metrics they use to evaluate the accuracy and reliability of the probabilistic forecast generated by the mock. And then if a project completely fails, that is, if the score is below, 50, then it tells you rejected, and it gives you reasons why the project was also rejected. But like I said, it is not here to replace the reviewer, but to serve as a second opinion for the reviewers.
All right, Igu, thank you. Any question for this particular pod? I believe our time is even up, but if you have any question, just bring it as well. Yeah, deep funding.
Yeah, Egu, nice one. I would want to ask regarding the originality of idea. Where did you take how does that work? Are we talking about the originality on deep funding websites or originality overall across Google or across every database that exists?
Okay, so yes, since this is an MVP, the originality of the idea, we trained the model to pick ideas from Google Scholar, right? That is projects that have already been, yes, from Google Scholar for now.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
All right,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Gifrim, and thank you, Percy. I'm not seeing any more hands for questions. I don't any more questions. I think we can take one more because we've exceeded the time. But are there any more? Okay. So I'm not seeing
Mariam,
any.
sorry,
Yeah.
just one point that I would like to make here. Just to everyone to know, Deep Funding Labs, it's actually a platform where we develop prototypes. Okay, so these are very low time consuming and effort, also investment in such prototypes that we are developing there to exactly have an abstraction of what we are doing and improve if that proves as a good approach to a determined problem that we have. Okay, so given this fact, here is what Godfred and the team, what they are doing is very important for us. But indeed, and especially because we are at the beginning of this, in the first step of this long stair that we are climbing. Okay.
All right. Thank you for that, Raphael. And I believe everybody has noted that now. But well done to the team. Great things are happening, and really very much impressive strides have been made. All right, then, since there are no more questions for them, I think other presentations we're going to take it for the next town hall or next open all hands. But moving on to the next agenda, we have someone from SingularityNET to give us a quick update about the RFP process and the person of Khellar Crawford. I hope I pronounced the first name well. If I did not, I apologize. But Crawford, that I can pronounce well, is the Chief Innovation Officer at SingularityNET. He has about over 20 years as a founder, investor, and advisor across startups and Hollywood and fintech. He's led initiatives for Paramount and Microsoft and Cartoon Network, reaching millions worldwide. And he was also a part of the early founding team at SingularityNET's Compute Data Center initiative that originated out of Dubai and Sweden. So round of applause. And in his current role, he works closely with Ben and Matt to accelerate, refine, and expand SingularityNET's AGI R&D. And he drives a lot of Hyperon RFP creation and evaluation closely with Matt Akel. So yeah, that's basically our brilliant Khellar Crawford, and he's here to share just a quick update about the RFP process. So virtual applause, guys, virtual applause. Khellar, please, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mariam. Thank you, Priska, for tagging me on this. And thanks everyone for having me. Yeah, just curious if folks here have applied for RFPs. So maybe in the chat, if you've applied for anything, let me know. I think I recognize at least a name or two here. So I guess today I'm speaking about how we select RFP winners. In particular, what I deal with is the writing of RFPs that specifically drive some synergy with Hyperon. So I work closely with Matt Ekley and Ben on attending our research calls and strategizing on how to hire, how to piece together the different layers, infrastructure layers, and broker conversations where there's communication that's going to accelerate some unblocking some research that might be a dependency for all the other research teams at SingularityNET. So we use Deep Funding as a way to pull in researchers from outside and complement our internal research. So it's tricky because at SingularityNET we have our own everything. It's like creating Linux, but for AGI. So it's our entire ecosystem, from the way that code interacts with the metal at runtime, all the way up to cognitive algorithms that synergize for higher level intelligence. So it's not Quasi, I appreciate the GPT. I think that's like a cool tool, and definitely as we get more participation in deep funding, I think using AI to help evaluate can be useful. And it's also tricky because if you can use a GPT to evaluate a proposal, you can also use a GPT to outsmart an LLM that's evaluating. So you could just literally take the original GPT, feed it in, and say, make this undeniably perfect in every way, aligned with everything, so that it would score 100% on an evaluation. So we have to use our tools with that in mind, and which is why in the evaluation we are heavily involved manually, like picking through everything. What would be helpful, I don't have a super long presentation today, but it's just here a bit to give you a little bit of insight on obvious things that are keeping teams from getting money. It's easy when somebody's MIT professor and they've got a team, and they're pulling in 5 PhDs, and they can list them off and point to the research papers, and they say that they want to do some research that's directly relevant to that their previous experience. those teams could easily miss a deep funding win if they don't list who they are and link to their papers appropriately. We've had people that should be selected that weren't selected because they didn't take the time to tell us who they were. So a big part is like, we have to know when we're putting money in people's hands that they're credible. That's a tricky thing to do. If you ask Haley from SingularityNET, she's trying to work on a reputation system that helps with that. And we're creating an ASI Academy that helps people get badges and stuff to say what they're good at. And that, yes, in fact, they do have relevant domain experience, but we don't have those things today. So the next best thing is just, teams should let us know who they are, LinkedIn profiles where there's recommendations. For people that are just interested, and let's just say there's a savant, brilliant researcher that's kind of on their own, it's gone through the woodworks, but hasn't gone to some pedigree school and an ex-Googler or University of Cambridge. It's good to get involved. We have the Metacoders call every other Friday. It's nice when we can see people's face and people are active and they're asking questions in those calls. Then the judges like myself and Matt and Ben and others can say, we can testify, hey, this is a really smart person. They're really involved. They're getting their hands on Meta. And we think that, they're not just, they didn't just grab the RFP and throw it into a GPT and then hit enter. And I've seen that a bunch of times. And I think a few of those things have come through to us as, our initial screening processes that involved humans that came through to us researchers, and we were able to see, like, this is just a number one thing that will just fail an RFP proposal is when it just looks like it's generated. It's just too perfect. It just comes out with like literally hitting the RFP on every level. No one will get a win that way. You will, us humans are looking for the human touch and have a pretty good subtle eye at detecting it. We're looking for original thought. We're looking for things that, we haven't thought of. They might not be in the RFP. And sometimes we've actually created new RFPs for proposals that have come through that are brilliant in some way, that were just outside of what was encapsulated in our request. So it's highly context dependent. Our research changes from week to week at SingularityNET, as that's just the nature of R&D. I don't have to tell folks here who are involved, but it's that is what R&D is. It's a moving target, and so from the time we write an RFP to the time we're actually judging an RFP, sometimes things are different, and it requires hands-on. It's an organic process. Certainly for this in particular, there are other RFPs that are less specific to the Hyperon development, the AGI componentry and infrastructure. Those are like the BGI proposals that we had before, which was just like applied AI that's beneficial. That's a lot easier to maybe evaluate with a GPT that doesn't have to have all of the context of any of a dozen different recurring AGI research calls, right? It's working with evaluating narrow AI solutions is a lot easier to do than evaluating breaking AGI proposals. So that's just a glimpse into what it's like for us in evaluating RFPs. It's a tedious thing, and we sometimes we like we need our specialists, and there's only like 3 people, 2 or 3 people that can evaluate an RFP that's deeply specialized. And so and those people are also the ones that are the busiest. So it's a work in progress. We have got to figure out AI tools to help us triage this down. Something like a GPT, an LLM assisted tool could also, just encouraging like creative thinking here, could also be good to have on the front end when people are submitting, right? Hey, you're never going to win this RFP because you didn't tell us who you are, and you just completely left out your credentials, and the projects you referenced aren't linked, or you referenced a video that's 2 hours long. Nobody's going to read it, so either just don't hit enter, or comply. So playing defense on the submissions might be a good place for generative AI, just because we really do want to facilitate people making the best use of their time. There are really talented people submitting, and it's just a bummer when they just forgot to tell us who they are, and it's or give us their relevant experience, or put it in a digestible format. So any questions for me on I don't know, my side of things? What's up, Tommy?
Yeah, hey, Khellar. I don't know if you're aware of the Swarm initiative that Deep Funding started a few months ago. We have a pipeline. It's just about ideas. You're brilliant. You can code. You can do this, but there are people that have ideas and do not necessarily have a team or the capability. Part of it was AI for peace. So we have a lot of peaceful ideas that came through. But there are a few errant Hyperon and stuff from another planet, the savants, that put in ideas, and we don't have the expertise. There's only about 3 or 5 of them out of 144 in the pipeline, and we've been the pre-CRISP team reviewed them. The CRISP team, which gets them the ideas after the pre-CRISP funnels them down. We've hit blockers with these 3 to 5 ideas. We don't have the expertise. As you said, if you're not in it minute to minute, we don't know whether the idea is good, has any water or anything else. Can we reach out to your 3 or 5 experts and hand off these 3 to 5 ideas and see if they should go anywhere?
You can ping me. I tend to have a pretty good sense of who to delegate stuff to. What's important is, again, with the folks that are the experts, they're the ones that are blockers for AGI. So we don't want them to just be available to answer questions that are coming in from everywhere. But if you want, you can send through to me, because I sit in that sort of position where sometimes I can answer the question, and sometimes I can quickly see, okay, this is highly relevant. And what the best possible case scenario is that something coming in that's an idea has a synergy with the research. I'll say, okay, actually, this is important for us to look at. I'm going to get Ben's attention and Matt's attention, and we're going to talk about this, and it might spur a conversation. But definitely don't want to bottleneck you guys on your process, and do
Yeah,
want
and we didn't want to bog you down. Esther didn't want to bog you down. So if you don't mind, I will delegate to Esther, and she, I assume she has better connection with you.
Yeah.
She'll reach out and possibly shoot you the ideas in Mattermost then.
A good way to do this, and something we're actively thinking about, is it's also, for deep funding folks here, something that came to Matt and my attention recently is that, with approval of milestones for Hyperon related work, we really need to be involved in that. And so some things are getting, I think, declined or approved that are very, very specialized, and I don't know how they're getting approved right now. So, or declined. So, two things. One, we don't want to block, because we're super, super, super busy. Approving every milestone is difficult, and so I don't want to say no Hyperon deep funding milestone should be approved without us, because that will be tricky. However, it would be nice for us to have visibility where maybe there's a spreadsheet. We're looking at and the milestones are on there. It's like pending approval. You can request an expert, approval on that. And that way, for those things that get very deep in the weeds where, maybe only Ben can answer it, goes through that sort of filter of a deep funding team, the Hyperon experts, the specialists, and then Ben. And yeah, so Raphael, what do you think?
Yeah, hey, Khellar, how's it going? No, absolutely, absolutely. Regarding the review of milestones, for instance, which is yet a different matter than the proposal selection, I've asked last month for the coordinators and the review circle to create a more detailed report for the assessment of milestones in general, not only for the RFPs, but in general. And they have created this. We are implementing in our systems, but this will probably be, if it's not already in this week, next week or so, we are going to have a very detailed assessment. What we can do to make it easier for Hyperon team is exactly to give you these reports better, with a resume of it. And then if you have any additional questions or something, you can jump in the document itself, the milestone report itself, or the deliverable, and have a better view. But this might take less effort from you.
Yeah, you can also threaten us. You can say, hey, put it in a channel. You can say, hey, we're going to approve this milestone if we don't hear back from you within this amount of time. And if we miss it, we miss it. But at least, we have some visibility on that. And so it's a somewhat loosely coupled thing where we want to be involved, want to be able to come in and intercept things that are really important research. There's stuff that is we're eagerly awaiting. And so sometimes when those milestones come in and we don't even see them, we don't even know that research's been done, which is like, definitely upside down, because we are the quarterbacks for AGI's research. So Tommy, to bring that back to your point, if there's some little little micro system, nice little spreadsheet or something where that can get surfaced into a channel, or kick through Esther over to us, then if it's not crazy verbose, try to think, be considerate of the bandwidth of the folks have to review me, and then happy to put eyes on it and make sure that you get answers. So yeah, rock and roll.
Webinar, man, my joining. Okay. Oh, that's our blockchain.
Mr. Lawrence, please, can you mute yourself, sir? Please mute yourself.
Okay, I've muted him. Thank you so much, Khellar. Are there any more questions for him? I think I do have a question. You had mentioned that between the time of writing an RFP and the time of judging an RFP, so many things might have changed. So how do the proposers keep that in mind? What do they have to look out for? You know, just to make sure that by the time you are judging the RFP, you know, they're not losing out on a large thought process.
Yeah,
Something.
good point. It's we've only had a couple times things have drifted a little bit. It's uncontrollable on our side. We try to every round we try to get better at creating RFPs so that they're open enough that they're gonna, you know, stand the test of 3 months, and then, you know, create. We're putting, you know, resources behind this, so we want to make sure that we're investing in research that's going to be, you know, pertinent in 6 months or 9 months. So we're doing our best to make that something that goes into the DNA up front. I'm finding every round that we want to be more and more specific about the things that are disqualifying people and the mistakes that we make. So it's just more diligence on our side. There's not a lot that we can do. Just, you know, we're applying more love up front. And also, you know, something that we would ask Deep Funding to maybe look at again is somehow, some way, you know, do we require people to like create a profile that gets approved, where we know who these people are? Because one of the things that's disqualifying people the most is, who are you? What have you done? What's relevant? Like, some people don't even list the LinkedIn, or they'll link off to some template that looks like it was a WordPress template for some agency that does AI, and no idea who you are. So it doesn't matter how good the proposal is, if it looks like it could be just a generative thing where there's no trace for reputation that we can discern on the internet, then we gotta, like, we're actually going and doing a pass now called auto fail, where we have people that aren't you know, experts go through. This is something that a GPT could totally do. It's just, if you don't tell us who you are, if you don't list any credentials in any meaningful way, then it's like, you know, it's an auto fail. That's a good option for, that might be a good, you know, thing to implement on the input side, to ensure that people aren't wasting their time submitting something that's going to get failed. I do have to jump. I've got another call, but Raphael, did you have a question?
No, actually, Khellar, it's just to show you, and Mariam, please, if I can share the screen here, 30 seconds, Khellar, just to show you that this, we already have it, and okay, and for next next batches, you see, this is your profile in Deep Funding's portal, where you will be able to submit your proposal to an RFP. So about professional experience, education, and so on, it will all be here. So you have access when you are reviewing the.
The problem is I'm not seeing that filled out. Right. So if there's some criteria, like you need to have a minimum word count on your creating a bio or something. But if this is new, then that's great. But
It's something that we can put definitely
yeah,
and add if it's definitely needed. Yeah.
it's a persisting problem. Last time I had a chat with Jan, and I just said, you know, we need to add these questions. I think he added those questions into the form, but it didn't work. Right. We still had a
Mhm.
bunch of people submit, and then just have these like
Blank.
very thin team profiles. And
Mhm.
you know, it's you know, for the time it takes to submit these things, you know, it's just like, you don't bother, bro. Like, it's um you know, we need to have some traction that we can get when we're evaluating, you know, who we're going to give money to.
Okay, we can, yeah, let's discuss it. We can use a process for this. We can have some members in our deep funding program reviewing at least this part,
Yeah.
which I believe
Yeah.
would be that problematic as
Yeah.
reviewing the technology and proposal itself. Or we can have as a feature in our portal to have these minimal criteria or requirements to apply for that particular RFP, which would be more complex, but yeah, we can work that in.
I mean, like some kind of like a flyer that just says, "Don't bother if you
Yeah.
don't plan on listing these things." And like, here's an example, right? Like here's an example of somebody, like one team with 12 PhDs, and here's an example of somebody that's like doesn't have, that's a beginner student that doesn't have all the publications, but has justified themselves in a good way. That's accessible to teams and people submitting from anywhere. Um, yeah.
Definitely something that you can have this minimum criteria that we require for application. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit my next call. Thank you all for
All
Yeah.
having me.
right. Thank you so much, Khellar, for coming, and thank you for sharing. Thank you everyone for, participating and listening. Thank you, Khellar. Have a lovely rest of day. And then, for everyone who's listened so far, let's remember all that he has shared. So it's the upcoming RFP here at Deep Funding and SingularityNET. Okay, so moving on to our next agenda, it is the spotlight session. And for those of us who are new, or just a reminder to those of us who are OGs here, spotlight session is a segment we've created here at the event circle to shine the light on members of our community who are doing great stuff. They may not necessarily be leaders of circles, but the fact that they're here and they're contributing towards our goals and objectives makes them very important people to us. And we just want to ask those very important questions, right? And even the less serious ones, just to get to know them better and to find ways to collaborate with them better. So there are a couple of questions we usually draft to be able to ask our guests for this segment. So as I'm asking the questions, if you have responses to them as well, please drop it in the chat box. We'd like to hear your thoughts and your own preferences too. And yeah, let's just be kind and warm and open towards our guests. And again, like I said, the goal here is also to find ways to collaborate better with one another and build more and more intelligently here at the ecosystem. All right, so a round of virtual applause to our spotlight guest of the night, Anthony. Anthony is a member of the documentation circle, and I think one other circle, but I've had most interactions with him based on a documentation circle, and he's here with us today. Our lovely, lovely guest, Anthony. Hi, thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Miriam. Hi, everyone. Good to be here.
All right. Okay, so we're just going to get into it. My first question is very important. And the question is coffee, tea, or something else? What is your go-to drink to start the day?
It's coffee. Two
Oh, how do you
times
like
every
it?
morning. Very black, just empty, no sugar, nothing else, just to do
Oh,
the job.
oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Pressa likes it black as well. Who else likes their coffee black? I honestly think coffee depends on coffee taking depends on mood. One morning you're all there are mountains to break down and it has to be black. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, well, it's nice, so we could have sugar today. But that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Okay, our next question is it reads, can you tell us about a risk you once took, whether it's a big one or a small one that ended up teaching you something valuable?
Well, to me, it's a big one. So in
Okay.
the early days of my career, I happened to work where I was given a certain percentage of equity that will be vested for a certain time period. That's like 4 years. But as at
Oh,
midway, the middle of the 4 years, yeah, I got other opportunities. So like it was a big question to be answered. Yeah, whether to leave the future reward, the future equity after having spent half of the time period you get, or to pursue other ventures that might lead to bigger things. So I took that risk and left. And that, I think, looking back now, that was the best decision, because growth itself, or sorry, movement itself is growth. Yeah, that was what I learned. So if you're still at that stage of your life where you're young enough to take risks, like move, just take action. That itself is growth. So that was what I learned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really beautiful. Movement in itself is also growth. And I think that's very important for, us to learn. One thing I've learned in my recent adult years is that life often meets you at the level of your audacity. So as audacious you are, is how much of life you're going to get and how much you're going to basically extract out of life. So if you're able to be courageous and take those risks, then you're honestly going to get more than people who don't. And it can be very tricky trying to navigate decisions with all of the wisdom that we have to, and especially when you have more than yourself to consider. So I'm glad for you, and I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're able to learn that. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Anthony, for sharing. And wow, I mean, leaving halfway for a 4-year run, that's really, it's not something anybody could just do. So well done to you. Okay, so my next question is this: what is one book or a podcast or a resource that has had a real impact on how you think?
YouTube. Like, I thank God for
Oh,
YouTube.
the free
Yeah.
university.
Yes, I swear, I love YouTube. I love YouTube. Yes, like I don't know, but it is a wonderful repository, a wonderful resource of like endless visual knowledge, audio. You get visual audio API basically. So it's like endless knowledge, and I like YouTube. Yeah, everything I learned from YouTube. Most of the things I
Yeah.
learned professionally, yeah, it's on YouTube.
Oh, that's really lovely. YouTube lovers, please drop emojis to know that you love YouTube as much as Anthony. I mean, YouTube did see me through uni, so forever grateful for YouTube. But yes, it is such an excellent resource. Oh yes, you have people who love YouTube too. That's really great. If you are sleeping on YouTube, as they say, then honestly, it's time to wake up. It really is such a great resource. So, Anthony, my next question is this: if you had unlimited time, which is something that we all wish we had, but if you had unlimited time and no deadlines, what is a project or a skill you'd love to explore just for fun? Like, you don't have to you're just doing it because you can and you want to. There's just time, no deadlines, no rush. What is a skill or a project that you'd like to explore?
Well, it depends on what unlimited time means. If you really mean unlimited time, then maybe I can spend it building systems that like advance knowledge, that
Okay.
democratize access to knowledge. You get,
Okay.
just to like raise consciousness. Like if you make all these systems easily like available, yeah, that's like what I would like to spend my time doing. If you're looking at time as a linear, one directional view, but if you're looking at unlimited time, like we're not limited by time, that means we're in another dimension, we're probably in the fourth dimension. And I really don't know what's happening there. So I can't decide what I'll now spend that
Fair enough.
equivalent of time doing. Yeah.
Fair enough. That's actually pretty great as well. Okay, so Anthony, who in your life inspires you right now and why?
Wow, it's everybody.
Oh,
Like yes, yes, my coworkers, like family, random people, even you guys, yeah. Like you guys
we are so
inspire me
glad.
a lot.
We are
Yeah.
so glad. And so why are you able to draw inspiration from all the people who play huge or small roles in your life?
Mm, okay, let me just, for example, for you guys here, like we all take action. Like we don't just talk, we usually do things. And I kind of like that. That's why I'm still here. It's like an inspiration because everybody
Okay.
actually does something in the background. Like we may not speak every time, I know, but things are getting done, obviously. So it's like an inspiration. Then
That's
similar, it
really
happens
beautiful.
similar in other situations like with co-workers and family. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. So everybody, you inspire Anthony because you are just as much as an executor as you are as a thinker. So yeah, you inspire Anthony. Just go
Yeah.
to bed remembering that I inspire Anthony
Yeah, they
in
get
one
stuff
small
done.
way. All right,
Yeah.
Anthony, thank you. Now, my next question is this. What's your favorite way to spend a lazy weekend? Like you have nothing to do, no weddings to attend, no birthdays, no friends having births at hospitals, no rush at all, just you and space and yourself. What's your favorite way to spend a lazy weekend?
I like to spend it with people, with someone I care about. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. Not people, someone you get. Because you
ooh,
spend the
okay.
rest of the week with people. So I think if I had the chance, I'll spend the weekend with someone I care about. Yeah.
That's really nice. That's actually very,
I
very,
won't
that's
touch
such a
any
nice thought.
electronic. With no
Oh,
electronic. Yeah,
no
exactly.
electronics, no internet, just books.
Yeah.
Are you going to be like books, food,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, food. Yeah.
books,
Enjoyment. Yes. Yeah.
robots, jigsaw puzzles,
No,
maybe?
no robots now. Why robot? No robots.
Perhaps puzzles, then board
Yeah.
games.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right, so that's very decent. Okay, so next question is this. What's something that you appreciate about, okay, I think you've already said this, but what's something you appreciate about the deep funding community that isn't always visible at first glance? Like you just have to be part of the community to learn this, and this is something that you really like about the community.
Yeah, just like I was saying before, it's about taking action. You get we take action, yeah. So that inspires me a lot. And on the surface, it might not exactly like the question is stating. It might not be visible, it might, but like things are getting done, and it is inspiring. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Anthony. Now, finally, if you could leave us with one question to reflect on after this town hall, what would that question be?
This one happened real life, long ago. Not long ago, sorry, some months ago, like a year ago. Someone, a young 5-year-old came to my laptop and was like, "What's deep funding?" So if you guys were to answer a 5-year-old, like, what are we doing here at deep funding? To a 5-year-old, that's like what I'll leave you guys. How would you answer a 5-year-old if
Hmm.
they ask what we're doing here? As at that time, I couldn't answer it, but now I can answer it. So you
Oh,
guys, mm,
okay. That's very lovely. So everyone, the question Anthony is leaving you with is if you had to explain deep funding and your role here and our mission here to a 5-year-old, a very curious, brutally honest 5-year-old, what would your response be? Thank you so much, Anthony. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for participating, and thank you to everyone else who participated as well. In the chat box and via reactions. Thank you, Anthony. You're a lovely guest. We
thank you.
celebrate you here at the Event Circle and at Deep Funding. Thank you for being a part of our initiative here and for all the work that you do for us, in all the circles that you're involved in and in all the meetings. And yes, for being an executor as well. We celebrate you. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you.
Alrighty, guys, moving on to the final agenda. We have a presentation on interactional motivation. Um, did I get that? Yes, interactional motivation. And we have someone really, really, really special here with us today to, give a presentation on that. Olivier, I hope I'm pronouncing that. I know it's, I think, French, correctly. But just to tell you all a little about this brilliant professor here with us today, he has been an associate professor at the Catholic University of Lyon, France, since 2017. And in 2023, he founded Petite IA, a French company dedicated to designing robots that exhibit lifelike behaviors. He graduated with a Master of Engineering from École Centrale Marseille in 1988. Wow, I don't think I was born then. And worked as a software engineer in industry until 2004. He earned a PhD as well in cognitive science from the University of Lyon in 2008 and held a postdoctoral fellowship at Penn State University with Professor Frank Ritter from 2008 to 2011, and from 2011 to 2014, he held a research fellowship awarded by the French National Research Agency ANR to investigate developmental AI at the University of Lyon. What a rap sheet, what a resume. Virtual applause, everybody, to the wonderful Professor Olivier, who's going to be sharing on interactional motivation. So keep your notebooks close, have your questions ready, put your ear very close to the speaker or microphone or whatever else you're using, and let us draw from his well of wisdom. Hi, Olivier. Thank you so much for being here today. I know that it's not easy for you and we do not take it for granted. Thank you for being here. And the floor is yours.
Hi, Miriam. Do you hear me well?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for this introduction, and thank you for having me tonight. Yeah, so first I have to say it's an honor to be awarded an award by the Deep Funding Network. We are very pleased with that. And of course, it's all about, so the whole point is to share what we are doing and to let people find new partners, help people understand what we are doing and work together. Maybe I can share my slide. So let me send the demand of sharing my slides.
Yes, I made you co-host. You can.
Okay, I think you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so our project is called Interactional Motivation. So I'm going to explain what it is. What is interactional motivation? What are the goals of this project within the Deep Funding framework? Hopefully, I will find collaborations or trigger or give people the desire to collaborate with us on this project. And I will present the milestones of this project, how it will unfold. So the proposal can be accessed online at this address. So if you want the full detail of the proposal, you can follow this link. Okay, so what is interactional motivation? So first, what problem does interactional motivation address? So it's a way to encode motivational principles in an artificial system in an open world. So an open world is when you don't have a predefined set of states or a predefined ontology. So So you cannot give a reward function for reaching some predefined states, as is the case, for example, if you want to design a system that win at chess or at the game of Go or at any board game, then you have a predefined environment, a closed world, and you can give a reward when the system wins. But when you have a robot in the open world, you have virtually an infinite set of states, and you cannot enumerate them from the start. And the open world does not send a reward function for the state. As humans, we don't receive a number for the world that will define our goal. So we want to design robots in the open world that are in this situation. So the core idea, as you may have guessed, is instead of programming a system that is motivated to reach a state, we design systems that are motivated to enact some interactions. So, for example, a robot may move forward or move an arm, or maybe bump into something. And maybe that's an interaction that's not good because it hurts somehow. So, interactional motivation provides us with a way to specify innate preferences to our robot. Maybe it will not like to get hurt, maybe it will like to eat, but to specify those preferences not in terms of reward state, but in terms of valuable interactions, patterns of interaction. Okay, so on what is it good for? It can be useful to steer a process of bottom-up developmental learning. So we try to reproduce what happens with babies, newborn babies. Probably they have some innate preferences. Something hurt, some things are gives them pleasure, like to drink the milk, some or to be warm and cuddled. So they have this innate value system, but we define it in terms of interactions rather than in terms of reward as it is traditionally done in reinforcement learning. So it's different from reinforcement learning. And the idea is that from those low-level preferences of interaction, the system can build more and more complex behavior on top of those motivations. So maybe your whole life you want to be warm, you want to eat when you are hungry, you don't want to be hurt. So maybe you construct a very complex behavior. You find a job, you earn money, and in fact you are free to choose whatever profession you will have, any solution you will have. But fundamentally, you want to satisfy those innate behavior. You want to eat when you are hungry and be warm when you are cold and things like that. So it's a way to specify some preferences. So everything is not equal. So because you have innate preferences, you care about what will happen, and you will have to learn to make prediction about what will happen, and you will have to learn to organize your behavior to be smart in the world. So it's a way to drive this developmental process that we all go through. And that's pretty much it. So then I can go into more details about how we model that. So a typical way to model an agent interacting with an environment, it's called a discrete decision system. In fact, if you look at Ben Gortel's book, The General Theory of General Intelligence, you will find this model at the very beginning. So it's pretty obvious. An agent will receive some information from the environment and choose an action. And it's discrete. So maybe at time 1, the agent receives observation 1, perform action 1, and then at time 2, the agent received observation 2, and then perform action 2. Almost all systems that model AI use this model in the background. But there are some critiques that we can make to this model. For example, I recommend this paper from Weinbaum and Veitas that critique this model. And there are two main critiques. One critique is that if the separation between the agent and the environment is pre-given, then we may miss some fundamental aspect of the problem of cognitive development. Because one aspect of cognitive development is to evolve the differentiation between the agent and the environment. So that's one critique. And another critique is the dissociation of perception and action. So in some cases, you cannot separate perception and action. For example, if I feel something, as I move, I can feel something through touch. But if I stop moving, I don't feel anymore. And there are many philosophical theories that say that most of perception is obtained through interaction. So that's two criticisms of this discrete decision system model. And I don't want to get rid of this model, but just keep those criticisms in mind. Just to remember that there are different possible declinations of this model. So the general obvious declination of this model is we start from the input to the agent. So that's typically a model when we use LLMs. So the prompt is the input, and then the agent produces a response. So it's the discrete decision system, but starting from the input. In the case of robots, we can have the opposite. So the robot will perform an action, and the input will be, in fact, some feedback from the action. So it's a model that you will find in cybernetics control theory. So in this case, the input data cannot be interpreted without the output data that comes from the agent. It's a feedback from the agent action. And then there are other situations in which there are nested loops of interaction cycles. So maybe if you have a robot, there is a low-level loop that runs maybe every 100 milliseconds. So the agent activates motors or steer the wheels and control this every 100 milliseconds and receive some feedback. So that's one level of loop. And then there is a higher level of loop where so if you think of a self-driving car, for example, so the higher level would be to decide where to go in the next intersection. And then there is an even higher level is to plan the whole trip. So there are levels of interaction loops between the agent and the environment. And we focus on developmental learning. So how a robot to replicate the system of developmental learning in babies, how a robot that is just turned on, maybe it has low-level preferences of interaction, and how can it climb up this ladder of nested loops? How can it construct higher and higher level of control loops to generate increasingly more intelligent behaviors. So this is a nested loop in a robot. So the robot is controlled by maybe a microcomputer, a Raspberry Pi. It will control the loop of interaction with the environment. And then there is a higher level, which we could call an AI agent, that will make decision for a longer time and receive outcome. And there are those levels of time scale, if you want. So at the lower level, there is a loop at maybe a few hundred milliseconds. And then on top of that, there will be a loop at the time scale of a second or 10 seconds, and then hours. And we want the system to climb up this level by a process that is called sedimentation of habits. Many philosophers have argued that we humans, as we learn from birth by sedimentation of habits, one on top of the others. Okay. And we want to do that in an open world. So without a predefined set of states in the world, without a predefined reward function that will be a function of the state of the world, and no predefined ontology of the world. So we want the agent to learn by itself, to discover, to class, to identify meaningful objects with which it will interact in the world. Okay. So overall, interactional motivation is the motivation to enact behavior for its own sake rather than from the result or the resulting state of the world. It allows specifying innate preferences without reference to the world state. And of course, it is compatible with other kinds of motivation. We can have many kinds of motivation, such as curiosity, flow. There are many theories of motivation. So interactional motivation is one of them. But crucially, it can drive a bottom-up developmental process in the robot. Okay, if you want to learn more, we have this paper that goes back to 2012 about interactional motivation, and we have been investigating this subject since then. So concretely, at the bottom level, if you want, we have the robot that makes a decision, receives an outcome from its action. So for example, move forward, and maybe the outcome is, okay, I was able to move forward, everything is fine. Or no, I bumped into an obstacle. And then we can associate a value here. It's like a reward, but it's not given by the state of the environment. It does not have a meaning without the decision that was made. So it's really associated with the pattern of interaction. That's the key idea. The value is associated with a pattern of interaction rather than the state of the world. And then we developed a whole cognitive architecture to handle patterns of interaction in space. Maybe I will pass quickly on that and show a demo. So we have this little robot here. And you guys can, we have a full YouTube video. I heard some people loved YouTube here, so you can watch our YouTube channel to see what behavior we can obtain with this little robot. And by the way, it's a very inexpensive robot. It's less than $200. So if some people want to have the same, and all our work is open source, and we are very happy to share what we are doing with it. So let me just quickly show a quick example. So that's the kind of behavior that we can obtain. So the robot has this ultrasonic telemeter here. It does not have a camera, so it is blind basically, but it can detect objects with its ultrasonic telemeter, and it has also luminosity sensor, and we created this behavior that if it detects the black line, it will just stop and withdraw a little bit. So it's a prisoner of this arena. It has also a color sensor beneath it, so it can detect those colors here. So after a while, our robot is exploring its environment. So this is a view of its. It's in its head, if you wish. It's a view of its internal spatial memory as it explores its environment. It's inspired by the hippocampus place cells on the grid cells. So you can imagine that as if it was just born. It's like a newborn baby that just explores its environment and discover how it can interact with the world just by babbling in the world. And then maybe I can accelerate a little bit. At some point, we put objects here, so it will start to interact with objects. So it can generate. That's the kind of behavior that we can generate with this approach. So it's not a higher level intelligence. It's what we call early stage developmental learning. Okay, maybe we will. At some point, it will stop and get bored and do something else. Okay. Okay, so it's just to give you a sense of what it is doing. Okay. So the goal of the project is to create a demonstrator of interactional motivation within the SingularityNET ecosystem. We have a tutorial made of Jupyter notebooks, so anybody interested can access it. So we'll transfer this tutorial into the SingularityNET ecosystem. We have identified the Iris framework by Beric Cook that may be suitable to demonstrate those principles. And of course, to spread the theory of interactional motivation through publication. And open the way to further collaboration on other robotics projects in the domain of developmental learning, possibly with our robot called the Petit Cat robot, which is also all on GitHub, and find collaborators who will be interested to collaborate on these topics. Okay, so the milestones of the project. So there are 3 milestones. One is technical foundation and platform selection. So we will detail a specific research plan using the SingularityNET ecosystem to demonstrate interactional motivation, and to create intermediary demonstration, and then to deliver. Of course, it's a relatively small project, but to deliver a demonstration of these principles. In terms of time frame, I am not sure. Hopefully, milestone 1 should be reached by the end of this year. Maybe milestone 2 in the spring, and milestone 3 in the fall 2026. Of course, we can discuss that with the SingularityNET team. Okay, and that's it.
All right, thank you so much, Olivier. That was a wonderful presentation, very, very thorough and very impressive as well. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so do we have any questions for him or insights to like share, or inquiries on how you could collaborate on this? Are there any? Okay, all right. So since as though everyone understood and have no current inquiries for you, Olivia. But thank you so much. I think the details on how okay, let me ask how members of our community can collaborate with you on this. What do you need?
So there are different possibilities. So if somebody is interested to have their own robots, if they already have some robots and would like to test our system with their robots, we could help them. So it will be, I think, an interesting collaboration. Otherwise, if they want to contribute to the development of the project, they can contact me, and we can talk and see how we can work together.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, Olivier. I'm sure everyone heard loud and clear. These are the ways to collaborate with Olivier on this very, very fascinating concept and project. Thank you so much, Olivier, for your time here and for sharing with us. We are super grateful. And yeah, we have basically come to the end of the town hall, everybody. So thank you for staying from start to finish. Just a few announcements before we go. Next week is an interesting week. We are starting the week on Monday with episode 5 of our X Spaces here at Deep Funding, and it's been themed the economics of community, how value flows in decentralized AI. And our guest is Peter Elfring from SingularityNET as well. And it's going to be an interesting conversation that you could definitely learn from and contribute towards 7 p.m. UTC. The link to it is in the chat box. So yeah, see you there. And then on Wednesday we have Opal All Hands. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be retrospective, but I think that will be communicated to circle coordinators and circle members on Wednesday by 2 p.m. UTC. And yeah, I think that's basically going to be the major things for next week. Increased conversations as well on Mattermost channels. I'm sure marketing will have yet another interesting challenge that will leave us gaps in, like the last time with the AI painting versus real painting. So like let's stay tuned, everybody, across all of our platforms. Let's engage with our social media channels. We're on LinkedIn, we're on X, we are on YouTube, and we're on Telegram. So be a part of all the respective channels and contribute there as well. Do not be a stranger. You're already a part of us, so you might as well chat with us and chat with one another. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for asking questions, sharing insights, for just being here. Thank you so much. And yeah, Priska has dropped the Olivier's handle on LinkedIn if you'd like to collaborate with him, or like I said, get your own robots, or do all the robot things. You could reach out to him on LinkedIn at Olivier Georgeon. I hope that I pronounced that last name correctly. All right, thank you. Okay, and yeah, that's basically it, everyone. If there are no more comments, thank you, everybody, and have a lovely rest of day or a good night, and see you on Monday. Oh, yes, it was our pleasure to host you here at the event circle. We don't take your presence for granted. Peace out from the best circle in deep funding. Warm regards, to end it on a formal note. Bye, everybody.
Bye, and thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you, Mariam.
Thank you, Olivier.
Thank you, Miriam, for hosting. Thank you so much.
Thank you for co-hosting. Have a good night.